Okay. Okay. Welcome, all my fellow weebs and weebettes. It is I, AnimeALX, and we are here in the Monastery of Anime and Gaming to talk about an anime topic that has kind of lit a fire in my soul. And I feel like I need to talk. I feel like I need to talk about this because I'm well versed in both of the series. I've watched them from start, well, for Naruto's case, start to finish, up until halfway into Boruto. I do need to get caught up in Boruto, but honestly, it hasn't really been keeping my attention. Sorry, just need to adjust my mic. But in the case of One Piece, for those who you know that come to see my gaming streams, people know One Piece is my favorite anime, my current favorite anime, and also I am caught up to the latest manga chapter, that being 1086. Still waiting on 1087. Hopefully that will be a banger, but right now is not the time of hoping for the future. Right now is time to discuss a current topic that I feel like a lot of people are misguided because they see it from their own biases and whatnot. And I'm here to try and help the community and to see the light, both communities to see the light. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into this. This is the Warlords versus the Akatsuki uh discussion. This is the first ever anime, or what I'm going to dub the Monastery podcast. So let me know in the comments and in the chat if you would like to see more of this content. But let's break into this. So up here we got the seven warlords. From left to right, we got Boa Hancock. We got Bartholomew Kuma, Crocodile, or Sir Crocodile, Dracule Mihawk, Jimbei, Gecko Moria, Doflamingo. Now, yes, there are more warlords, as in Buggy, Law, and Blackbeard, which would bring up the warlords count to 10. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I mathed correctly. Yeah, it would bring up the warlords to 10. Meanwhile, on the Akatsuki side, we got Orochimaru, Sasori, Datara, Conan, Pain, Nagato. So we're splitting Nagato and Pain. We got Obito, and this appears to be Rinnegan Obito. I don't think we're using Jubito, because by that time Jubito wasn't really a member of the Akatsuki anymore. So we're using Rinnegan Obito, even though Rinnegan Obito and Conan and Nagato wouldn't even exist. But hey, to suspend disbelief, we are going to give Obito the Rinnegan in this scenario. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got Zetsu making 8. We got Kakazu making 9, Hidan making 10, Kizame 11, and Itachi 12. So for this case scenario, we are going to make it a 10 on 12, which the results are going to be very interesting. And even though the Akatsuki isn't even like 12, because with Pain you have to basically multiply him by 6, so uh that would be like plus 5 more, so 17 on the Akatsuki. Anyways, let's get into this. I'm not gonna really split up the Akatsuki into 1v1s. This is going to basically be like kind of a, not a free for all battle, but like just a team versus team battle. uh, disregarding how the Warlords aren't really a team besides like Mihawk, Crocodile, and Buggy. If you are caught up to the mangas, also by the way, this is going to be spoilers on both anime. So if you are not caught up on both anime, then please click off of the video. I should probably have warned that way earlier than what I did, but it is what it is. So let's continue. We are going to use their current or their strongest forms of their anime. There will be no cutoff points. I'm not going to be like some people using just only Dressrosa power levels. No, this is going to be their strongest iterations of their verse, meaning all of these will basically be war arc versions besides Jubito, mainly because I don't really think I can consider Jubito part of the Akatsuki, because at that point in time of the story, Jubito was kind of his own person and turned on Madara. And then you have the whole Kaguya thing, and also the power scaling with Jubito around that area of time of Naruto was very, very wishy-washy, because at the end of the day, you still had like Kakashi. I don't even think he wasn't even double Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi. You had Kakashi literally like throwing hands with this form of Obito, which was honestly the strongest Akatsuki member to that point. So if anyone really wants to get on my case in the comment section about that, I'm still highballing Obito, giving him the Rinnegan, even though he wouldn't be able to have the Rinnegan if Nagato and Pain are on the same team. But yeah, the only thing I can't really make a case for is definitely the Ten Tails, because that had a lot more narrative focus outside of the Akatsuki, and we're trying to focus on the Akatsuki and them being at their high points with still being a part of the org, is basically what I'm saying. Now, taking that to account, Orochimaru is going to be the very wonky one, because Orochimaru's power level, if you've ever considered like if you've ever so is it just you talking, or do we get some input? You can also give, also by the way, for the chat, to make this podcast more livelier, you can give some input. If you want to power scale and throw in your 2 cents into the mix, I will read over all your chats and take it into the consideration of trying to power scale these two verses and these two teams of these two verses. We are actually going to start off on the Akatsuki side of things, because the Akatsuki side of things are a little bit more straightforward, and I will be bringing up some receipts, and we are going to kick it off with Orochimaru. Orochimaru is a very mixed bag of power. If you guys remember Orochimaru was seen in part 1 of Naruto as kind of the overarching big bad. He basically convinced Sasuke to come to his side, gave him the curse mark. We had the whole Sasuke retrieval arc at the end of part 1, and even when at the end of the tuning exams, or part 2 of the tuning exams, we noticed that Orochimaru has killed the 4th Kazekage, which is Gaara's dad, and thus went on to assassinate the 3rd Hokage in Hiruzen. So we know that Orochimaru is Kage level, but part 2 has completely given Orochimaru several anti-feats. And now we know that Orochimaru was kind of sick and that he needed Sasuke's body just to try to live. And then in Boruto, we eventually see that Orochimaru is in a new female body. So we don't really know what Orochimaru's power level is currently in the Boruto series. So taking Orochimaru at his strongest that we know, which would be part 1 Orochimaru, and in between part 1 and part 2 Orochimaru did team up with the Akatsuki. We know that Orochimaru is Kage level, basing it off of the powers that we saw, powers of the fourth Kage that we've seen in the war arc, and trying to scale him towards that. And we know that the Kage can basically control a desert, like a desert amount of golden sand or golden metal, which he has then fought his son, which is the current fifth Kazekage, Gaara, in that battle. We know that, and it has been stated that Gaara, ever since losing Shukaku in the first arc of part 2 of Naruto Shippuden, we know that he actually has gotten stronger. So the version, or the war arc version of Gaara is stronger than the Shukaku version of Gaara of part 1, which completely makes zero sense and is very stupid and very inconsistent, because I legitimately, here's a little tangent, I legitimately thought Kishimoto should have went through and given and tried to make like a whole storyline in the middle of the war arc, trying to give Gaara back Shukaku so Gaara can get a power up, because frankly, Gaara just using his whole Sanjutsu isn't really cutting it, not really convincing me that Gaara should be on the level of like the upper echelon of Kages. That it makes that Kishimoto kind of makes you want to believe that he's at, but then the feats don't really match up, and then what Gaara can really do doesn't really match up. But with that being said, we do know that Orochimaru is at least Kage level. I do not know if Orochimaru is stronger than Gaara. I would probably say Gaara is stronger than Orochimaru, so it's going to put Orochimaru more towards that lower end of that Kage scale, because if you, like I said, if you watch Naruto, you know who's the top dogs in the Kage pecking order, who's the lower dogs in the Kage pecking order, despite them being basically country level ninjas. All the Kages are country level ninjas. So Orochimaru, country level, has big snake summonings. Basically, is very smart, very tricky. Can make some very underhanded tactics. We are going to move forward to sorcery. And now sorcery here, it has stated that sorcery can actually take over and destabilize a country with a night. We've seen sorcery pull out some summoning jutsus of summoning like several hundred puppets. Remember in that one episode, 100 versus 10 puppets, sorcery versus Granny Chio and Sakura. Obviously, sorcery just killed himself and gave them the win. Everyone in the community knows that. Granny Chio out of her prime. Sakura, not really strong at that point in time. All she really can do is just punch. I definitely wish, and you know what's sad about it is that Sakura in part 1 was said to be a genjutsu specialist. We've never seen Sakura pull out any genjutsu techniques throughout the entirety of Shippuden. All she really focuses on are just taijutsu, in medical ninjutsu, more so medical ninjutsu, and her taijutsu is not even at the level of Rock Lee. So unless you really want to say that when at the end in the war arc, when she gets the like Lady Tsunade's mark on her forehead, that elevates her taijutsu on the same level as Rock Lee. But I would like to make a point that Rock Lee, or current day Rock Lee, who's the leader of the Suicide Corps of Naruto, is still stronger than Sakura. When you take in account like 7th Gate Rock Lee and disregarding 8th Gate Rock Lee, I think 7th Gate Rock Lee can give a run for Sakura's money, because we know that Seal isn't enough to like put her on like Rinnegan and like 6 paths like Naruto and Sasuke level. So this person obviously, sorcery obviously has the like a puppet of the third Kazekage, which makes Iron Sand, which is stated to be the strongest uh, jutsu of the village of the hidden sand, or Sunagakur, whatever translation you want to go with. So Sorcery is actually a very, very formidable opponent, and also it specializes in multiple poisons. The interesting thing about Sorcery is that since he died so early on in the series, uh, thank you. Since Sorcery died so early on in the series, Sorcery, we didn't really see a lot of his power. We just know that he can control like hundreds of puppets, and like the puppets we know can be destroyed by a part like a first arc part 1 Sakura, which doesn't really add up to a lot of power level, because Sakura, the most Sakura was doing at that time was like punching and destroying boulders. We are talking about One Piece here. These people can destroy islands. So not. Here's some info about Orochimaru and Boruto. It is stated that he has achieved his goal of immortality. Interesting. I honestly really don't know what really the immortality entails. Is it immortality because he can cycle through bodies, or is it immortality as in he just cannot die, or is it immortality as in he can die but he's just eternally young? Either way, I still can't use Boruto scaling because Akatsuki's doesn't exist in Boruto. So, and plus, I'm pretty sure Orochimaru in part 1 was still stronger than Orochimaru in Boruto, since Orochimaru in Boruto doesn't even really take a combat role anymore. So I can assume that he's like out of practice due to like the era of peace. But Sorcery, it's very hard trying to power scale Sorcery, because in legacy text he's country level. And I can respect that he's country level. Come on, he made a Kazekage into a puppet, so he's definitely at this point like country. His puppets, however, are not country level in at least durability, because they can get destroyed really easily. But with that being said, Sorcery can put them back together pretty fast. Uh, with Sorcery, it really depends on how he strategizes. And but the thing is that wait is very difficult trying to power scale this, is that we don't know how potent poisons are to people of One Piece caliber. The most we've ever got to very strong poisons are the Doku no Mi. I believe I said that right, which is the venom fruit, which belongs to Magellan, and we've only seen that in Impel Down. We know how powerful that is, and honestly, that venom is way more powerful and potent than anything Sorcery has shown in the series. You don't need immortality when you have sheer numbers. Durability, fair. What about War Arc Orochimaru, where he mastered Edo Tensei? He did. You know what? But here's the thing: do we give that to Orochimaru? Because at that point, Orochimaru wasn't even in the Akatsuki. Because at that point, if I'm giving a War Arc Orochimaru, or if I'm giving this Orochimaru Edo Tensei, then I need to give Obito Jubito. But at that point of the story, these two people weren't even in the Akatsuki anymore. When Obito became Jubito, he was just aligned with Madara, thus aligned with Kaguya, kind of doing his own thing. All the Akatsuki were just taken out at that point. Orochimaru was not a part of the Akatsuki at that point. So, also, this doesn't take account of Team Taka. So, I forgot to mention, Team Taka will not be taken account of. So, Sasuke wouldn't be taken account of. Or Team Hebi, which they turned into Team Taka after they separated from the Akatsuki. They were Team Hebi, or shit, no, I'm getting that mixed up. They were Team Hebi when they were underneath Orochimaru. They were Team Taka when they went to the Akatsuki. Then they separated from the Akatsuki, and then they just went. They just flew solo and met back up with Orochimaru, who then mastered the Edo Tensei, then resurrected like the four Hokages. Jeez, getting my stuff mixed up. But regardless, I'm not going to count Team Taka because their stint of the Akatsuki wasn't even really that noticeable, and they basically kind of used the Akatsuki to further their own agendas. So they weren't really a part of the Akatsuki. They were just kind of using them. What about Juzo, Itachi's former partner? Oh yeah. Then you get into like the side stuff of Juzo. I'm not gonna count Juzo because come on, like if Juzo died before like part 2, like he was trash, even though he had the executioner blade. Not going to say Edo Tensei. So like obviously Kabuto not going to be a part of the Akatsuki because Kabuto was basically just Orochimaru's henchman. Uh, that kind of goes into Orochimaru past the Akatsuki. So yeah, those are the reasons. Anyways, getting back on track to Sasori. I can say Sasori is at bare minimum like country village level, but I feel as he's country village level for his level of stealth, deceiving, disguising, and just making kind of an army of a miniature army of puppets that can go in and then just poison people. Like I said, I don't really know how well the poison will actually hold up on the One Piece side of things because, as we've seen in One Piece, the strongest poison that people can go up against is from Magellan, and so it's very hard because at the same time, like Crocodile has poison in his hook, so whose poison is stronger? Now, with that being said, I don't know if Crocodile's poison can poison Sasori because he's a puppet. He turned his body into a puppet, a living one. So I don't really. So I mean, there's that, and also with that being said, the only way Sasori can officially die is if you destroy this little heart piece. But with that being said, I do. We don't even know where the poison came from. But with that being said, I don't really think that's very difficult with the other warlords, and I will get to that in a second. So we can we've at least established that we have two country level at least two country to small or small village to country level uh attackers or fighters in the Akatsuki, and we are basically scaling them to their own verse. So when I say country level, take it in mind that country level just means Naruto country level, not One Piece country level, because One Piece country level is more of continental level. Because you guys know how big Alabasta is, bro. Like, you guys probably do understand how big Wano is. Those are continents. Those are not countries. But yes, you can't just destroy Sasori's entire body in one blow unless you get his heart, which is this little scroll. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Sasori that he can at least rebuild his body a couple of times before like any of the warlords catch on. That kind of comes down to battle IQ, which I will take account of, but that's going to be in a separate. That's going to be kind of like doing an overall wrapping up. Let's get into Datara. Datara, honestly, is one of my more favorite Akatsuki members, just right underneath Itachi. Obviously, Itachi being the whole mascot of this stream of this podcast and of the whole stream channel. Always gotta respect Itachi, but my biases aside, even though Itachi is actually one of my favorite anime characters, uh, Datara is like my second favorite Akatsuki member, and Datara is honestly really slept on because if you guys remember, Datara legitimately low diffed Gaara, who was the fifth Kazekage of like the first arc of part 2. Gaara was no slouch. Gaara legitimately could destroy the whole sand village if he wanted to. He still has Shukaku in his back pocket at that time. Datara low diffed him. Datara soloed the Three Tails with a fish bomb. Datara legitimately lost to Sasuke due to plot armor. Give this man his flowers, because I've seen so many people just downplay this man to all hell and back when Datara was honestly top. Like, besides Obito, okay, so besides Obito, besides Itachi, and besides Nagato in Pain, right? Datara was like right behind him. Datara was stronger than Kasame. Datara was stronger than Conan. Datara was stronger than Kakazu. Datara was stronger than Hidan. Essentially. Datara has the third best big in Akatsuki. Like, dude, there's still some people that says Sorcery was stronger than Datara. No, Sorcery was not stronger than Datara. Datara has three Bijus underneath his belt, and in fighting like Sasuke to essentially like a bullshit plot armor draw. Like, or he basically fought Sasuke to a draw, but then plot armor allowed Sasuke to get the win, and because Datara, out of his own narcissism and hubris, decided to blow himself up because of his hatred towards Sasuke and Itachi, thus giving Sasuke the win through sheer plot armor. If obviously if writing dictated, Datara did not blow himself up, Datara and Sasuke would just be tied since both of them ran out of chakra, which means that before Edo Tenseis, because I'm not going to take account of their Edo Tenseis, but I am going to take account of them just being fresh powered. So obviously Itachi, no sickness. Datara still scales to the Sasuke that took out Itachi, like sick Itachi. So the Itachi that let Sasuke win. So that's where Datara scales, which that's still very, very powerful because around that time, Sasuke had Sasuke had the curse mark mastered, and he had the three Tomo Sharingan and he expertly had not mastery, but or I guess he had mastery over thunder or lightning style and fire style because he was able to create Kirin. Kirin was his back pocket jutsu for Itachi. So I mean, Datara at least scales towards Kirin. Kirin Sasuke. Obviously, his jutsu basically matching, or his strongest jutsu matching uh Kirin's, which was Sasuke's strongest jutsu around that time period. Another thing about Datara is that he has his is it his C0 attack? I think his C0 attack is the one where it's like nano, like microscopic, like gets into your skin and then just completely disintegrates you. Um, so I mean, to like the members of the Warlords that don't have hockey, so like Buggy and Moria, I mean, he can actually technically just do away with them due to them not being able to perceive that small scale attack. So I mean, honestly, Datara is one of the Team Akatsuki's biggest hitters due to his craftiness, his artistic style, and how he can expertly weave in or mold different forms of his bombs. Uh, he can catch people off guard with his spider bombs, which are small enough to go underneath the radar. He can make a huge like C4 dragon that basically can shoot out smaller bombs. He can make a nuke with C2 that basically is country level, can wipe out all of the hidden sand village. So they give this man some props. Stop sleeping on Datara. Datara is actually one of the Akatsuki's big hitters right now. Conan. Conan. Okay. The only feat Conan has is using prep time, creating like a huge chasm of bombs. Obviously, Conan is not having prep time in this scenario because this is just a fight between. This is just like an on site fight. Conan does not have any prep times for bombs. If I'm giving Conan prep time, then I'm giving someone like Doflamingo prep time. And giving Doflamingo prep time is way more devastating than giving Conan prep time. That's just facts. Birdcage over birdcage over the like the valley of bombs all day every day. So obviously Conan's not gonna have prep time. Doflamingo isn't gonna have prep time for Birdcage. I'm not gonna do that because that's just like too plot conveniency. So Conan doesn't really show country level feats. Basically, Conan's. You know what's funny? Conan's abilities would be that of like a paper fruit. Like legitimately, if Conan's abilities went into One Piece, Conan would be a special paramecia because she could turn her body into paper. Paper would be on the same level of as Katakuri's Mochi Mochi no Mi, or the same classification of the Katakuri's Mochi Mochi no Mi, thus turning it into a special paramecia, thus meaning that Conan can turn her body into paper but not regenerate her body in out of paper, if you catch my drift. So using that same logic of a special paramecia without the abilities of like future sight, observation hockey and whatnot, like Conan gets harmed the same way as of a normal like Logia user getting harmed. But her battle IQ is actually really, really impressive. Very adaptable. Cop Cup did mention this. She is the most adaptable, or the best or she has the best adaptability in the Akatsuki, and what that means is that she can adapt basically strategies on the fly and basically kind of try to mitigate her lack of power through strategic battling. She has shown actually a very high level of strategic battling, especially how she won won against uh free Renegon Obito without plot armor, which that's kind of the sad thing about the Akatsuki, about some of the Akatsuki members, is that some of them seem weaker than what they actually are because of the writing and the plot armor of it. But when we take away from the account of plot armor, like Conan legitimately would have won. Conan legitimately would have won against Obito, because like Obito only had one Sharingan to use the Izanami. So wait, is it Izanagi that resurrects you, or is it Izanami that puts you in a continuous loop? Wait, let me look. Let me look that one up. With Izanami activated and Kabuto trapped in its infinite loop. Okay, so Izanami puts you in the infinite loop. Izanagi resurrects you. Izanagi, like, Obito should have only been able to use Izanagi one time and then been blind. And then Conan honestly should have been able to like react to that. Plus, with Conan being essentially like Nagato's battle strategist in the Akatsuki, like, come on. Like, she's obviously going to be playing a more supporty role in this battle, staying on the outside, But she seems to overthink things. If she gave the Rinnegan to Naruto or something, she would have lived because Obito didn't need to come after her. I mean, that's fair, but that's more of obviously she did that for to push the plot to get to the war arc. So that aside, Conan isn't really going to be like really deep into this battle. She's going to be like kind of calling shots on the she's going to be like shot calling and trying to strategize with the team. And honestly, the Akatsuki has better teamwork than the Warlords going on. So this is one of the Akatsuki's biggest strengths going in. But to her avail, I don't know if her firepower alone is really going to deal with any of the warlords. Even the weakest warlord, I guess the weakest warlord would technically be Buggy, but even when it comes to the likes of Buggy, I really don't know what she does, because she shoots out like paper shurikens and stuff like that, and like Buggy obviously can split himself, and he can't be cut with the chop chop fruit. So yeah, she basically plays the Shikamaru role. Moving on to Mr. Pain. Mr. Six Paths of Pain himself. And we're going to include all the six paths. So for you guys thinking that I'm trying to wank off the Warlords, I'm not. I'm honestly more highballing the Akatsuki than anything, because I'm giving them like backup on backup. Also, welcome, Coffin. This is me in real life. From so anyways, Nagato, or not Nagato, Pain, Yahiko, whatever you want to say. This is where we're going to get into some of the highest hitting Akatsuki members. Obviously, we know how strong Pain is. Pain can level all of Konoha with like the flick of a with the flick of his wrist being almighty push and then wiped. Are we counting Nagato? Yes, we are actually going to count Nagato. So with the flick of his wrist in an Alakazam in an almighty push, Konoha goes disappear. But the bad thing about it is it takes 6 seconds for him. I believe it was 6 seconds that he stated that he had to recharge that amount of chakra to then pull out the almighty push again. So trying to remember each of the paths of pain, which I'm going to pull up here. Paths of pain, Naruto, because I want to be as accurate and not get any of my come on now. Why are you taking this long? Paths of pain. What? Okay. Uh, Six Paths of Pain, as explained by the Narutopedia. So we got the Deva path, the Ashura path, the human path, the animal path, the Preta path, and the Naraka path. This right here is like some hardcore data right here. Uh, Now the Deva path, this one is the one that manipulates attractive and repulsive forces. This is the one which is the main path of pain that you see perform almighty push. This is the one where Yahiko's body is used. Then you have the Ashura path. The Ashura path is the one that makes like really weird like mechanical weaponry. This one honestly is kind of the weakest one. This one is like the whatever. Uh this one is honestly the whatever. He's basically the Frankie of the group. So if honestly, if you can imagine like Frankie fighting uh or like a Frankie ninja fighting. That's basically the Ashura path. Uh, Definitely not going to do amount to anything with against the warlords. Then you have the human path. Human path can yank out the soul of the body, and it provides intel by getting well guarded secrets. And the technique inevitably kills the target. This is actually one of the strongest attacks that the Akatsuki has. And bro, I do not care about Indiana Jones ads. Get out of here. But yes, we have this grants basically one shot abilities. So through the one shot abilities, here's the thing. There will be no verse equalization because verse equalization is the most stupidest thing you could do because all that does is nerf and then buff other things other sides unfairly. So, since I'm not going to really say that hockey can really counter this ability, this is one of the Akatsuki's strongest abilities and able to one shot being able to one shot people. But we have seen in Naruto that and we've seen in Naruto and in One Piece which to do a one-to-one comparison of One Piece, this ability is basically the same thing that Big Mom can do. We have seen stronger people with or in One Piece with stronger wills fight back of the soul yanking. Now, I'm not going to say that hockey and being not afraid is going to be or is going to completely one-on-one counter that, but we do know that One Piece characters can at least fight their souls being yanked outside or out of their bodies for at least some sort of time. With that being said, I'm going to chalk up that the human path does have the ability to one shot all of the warlords. But the caveat is that the warlords are at least strong enough to hold on for a little bit to actually counter him, or they could just completely blitz and neck him before he can even get off the attack. Not gonna lie, Salsa fruit is just a better version of Moria's fruit. That is true. For real, I just fell in the pool with my phone. I'm using speech to text. Say this to my keyboard. It is blacked out. Cab, you tell me if you can see this. I can see this. Uh, are we counting? Not. Okay. I just read a little bit too up it, but that is the human path of pain. We get to the animal path of pain. The animal path is honestly a very slept on path of pain. If I was going to have any path of, or if I had to choose any Renegon path, I'm going to choose the animal path because the summoning of this many animals, especially this dog, if you guys remember that three-headed Cerberus dog that can basically split into like multiple different dogs, that thing was really overpowered. And the animal path is very slept on. You basically can make Bijou sized monsters, and with those Bijou sized monsters, you basically can run over and trample a whole village. But are we talking about each summoning does? To get down to the each summoning, which they actually have each summonings, we have the giant drill beaked bird, which is a large bird, which has which has a number of body piercings and Renegon, blah blah blah. The bird itself is unusual as not only does it demonstrate a prominent and jagged yellow colored beak, but it also features three distinct legs and has the receiver like the those receivers from the Renegon. This summoning can move at an incredibly fast speed and can use that velocity combined with its beak to form powerful dive attacks, slamming its beak into opponents. So it basically does the whole king thing where like you pick up so much speed that your beak turns into a spear, and then you could like spear through people. So that the thing is that these warlords scale towards like the strength of giants. And not only that, these warlords, like if you're trying to fight them on physicality speaking, like you're not going to win. And then it also uses its eggs as bombs. Yeah. And then it could lay a large quantity of eggs that subsequently explodes like bombs. So basically, you have bombs and you basically have like ramming into them. I like the bird isn't really going to do much. Like Mihawk is one-shotting this bird. Like so bird negative. The giant multi-headed dog actually is going to be very annoying for the warlords. It was modified by Pain using animal summoning technique so that it can split apart, and when struck into individual dogs that then can merge back together. It gains additional heads every time it splits in this way, and each duplicate head carries the black receiver and the Renegon like the original. According to Nagato, the only way it can be defeated was by defeating its original summoner. So here's the thing. This dog is going to give the warlords a run for their money, because if Mihawk tries to split it, you get more dogs. If Doflamingo tries to split it, you get more dogs. Honestly, the best people trying to fight this dog is going to be Jinbei, which does blunt damage, or trying to get like Kuma and or Crocodile. Honestly, I feel like Kuma is the best person for this job, because Kuma like goes up, one taps the dog, sends it somewhere else. But the sad part about it is, even though Kuma can one tap it, send it somewhere else, the animal path can just resummon it back. So this one is going to kind of come. So basically, I feel like Kuma is going to be the best person to fight the animal path, because this is going to be kind of a fight of bring in the animal, Kuma slaps away the animal. Bring back the animal, Kuma has to slap away back the animal up until Kuma gets to the animal path, like pain. Which the thing is, Kuma is a cyborg, and Kuma does not run out of stamina. So, and the Pain is a puppet, and that it doesn't run out of stamina. So it really comes down to whoever is stronger. And Crocodile has to use his sand attacks to kind of do a Gara giant sand burial thing. And Crocodile can control sands like basically country level, like city level at bare minimum. He's definitely country level, because like by the time Crocodile comes back into the series, like by the time Crocodile does come back into the series, he does he should be able to get he should be able to get Awakening. And you know what? Since the Warlord system is abolished, and I'm like thinking to the future with like One Piece characters, F it, I'm gonna just give Jubito to Obito, because now that I'm kind of working with it, throughout this whole horror ordeal, I'm going to highball Orochimaru. I'm a buff Orochimaru and a buff Obito, because right now things are kind of leaning way too much in the Warlord's favor of things, and so I need to give the Akatsuki's a little bit more firepower. So for this, we're going to take Jubito, Obito, and we're going to split Obito in two different categories. We're going to split him into Rinnegan Obito and then Jubito Obito, just to see it. And then we're going to give, I mean, even Edo Tensei to, well, I feel like Edo Tensei would still kind of be cheating, because if you can Edo Tensei other, like, people that are not a part of the Akatsuki, then it ruins the whole Akatsuki versus Warlords. So for that's like saying I'm gonna get all the Warlords like crews involved, which I'm not trying to do. So for that reason, Edo Tensei cannot be taken. It cannot be taken. And I think Orochimaru's immortality is just him changing in and out of bodies. So yeah. And if you guys know, like Hidan is also immortal, so I mean, even if the warlords can't kill either Hidan, like can't kill Hidan or Orochimaru due to immortality, they can still take the W just by incapacitating him. So just letting that be known. But getting back to the Paths of Pain, uh, not only we have the multi-headed dog, we have the giant snake-tailed chameleon that can essentially turn invisible. It camouflages to its surroundings, but this camouflage doesn't really matter because observation hockey. So it is what it is. I have to let my dog, not my dog, but my cat out real quick. He probably need to go to the restroom. Uh, Getting back onto we got the giant panda, which honestly is nightmare fuel. The giant panda has the ability to harden its body, kind of like armament hockey, creating a defensive barricade for its summoner. Uh, that does not matter because law. because law and also Kuma. So does not matter whatsoever. The giant ox, which possesses great deal of brute strength, uh, does not matter. Like I'm saying, like anything that said any animal summoning that just relies on brute strength is not going to work on the warlords. The warlords are like multi-continental level, like they can they can handle the size of these beasts. Kuma can handle the size of these beasts. Kuma literally one tapped Ors Jr., who is larger than these beasts. Kuma doesn't care. And that's Kuma halfway through the story. Like that's Marineford Kuma. We're not in Marineford anymore. We are in Egghead. Okay? So not gonna lie, it's just Jozu and Mihawk can beat Jozu's diamond skin. What else? So we got the giant rhino, which I think is the same as the giant ox. Its ability, it's sheer but its sheer size and nature, it has great brute force, able to destroy. Wait, it has also had a small pair of wings, small pair of badly damaged wings, though it's unknown if it was unable to fly. Okay, so the rhino is just like the ox. I actually really question what is the point of having a rhino if you have an ox that does the same thing. And then you have the giant crustacean. Again, nightmare fuel. Even though I bet if you cook this thing, maybe it will taste good. I love crabs. The crustacean is able to use water release and techniques such as water release wild bubble wave technique, and it is also very durable, as seeing as it's armored. But like I said, due to devil fruit abilities, does not matter. Wild bubble waves. I mean, you could just chalk this up to being hit like by a fishman, uh, like by a fishman karate technique. Obviously, devil fruit users need to be fully submerged with water. They're just getting attacked by it, so it's not like the water is going to really hinder them in any way. Also, if we're going to get Jinbei involved, Jinbei can literally manipulate water, so I don't so you're kind of powering up Jinbei in a way. The centipede has no well-known abilities. Uh, uh yeah, yeah. Centipede has no real abilities. So that is everything on the animal path. Then we got the Preda path, which The Preta path is the path that absorbs chakra. Obviously, he cannot absorb any chakra because there is no chakra to absorb. So the Preta path is actually the weakest and the most worthless path of pain in this scenario. And then finally, you have the Naraka path, which can summon the King of Hell and heal people and interrogate people by ripping out their tongues. Obviously, this is going to be kind of an ace in the hole to try to heal people on the battlefield in this scenario. The only issue would be again Kuma. For this scenario, I'm going to have Kuma deal with the the six paths of pain. I'm gonna have Kuma deal with the six paths of pain, because Kuma honestly, and there's my cat, he's back. Kuma honestly deals with these paths by just swatting them away, and plus Kuma is faster than light. We've seen him in Saba Odi legitimately speed blitzed all of the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats by that time were able to react to light based attacks, being Foxy's slow beams, and even reacting to like Soru from CP9, and even reacting to lasers because Zoro has dodged lasers. Even they've even stated that Kuma can repel air at the speed of light in Thriller Bark. So yeah, Kuma is obviously light speed, and he's a robot. Infinite stamina, infinite stamina, higher durability, into Devil Fruit power that can basically like displace people and also create massive damage. And if you really, really, really want to say anything, honestly, Kuma plays the team's medic because he can repel the team's like the Warlords damage and then send it back towards the Akatsuki. So it kind of is the Akatsuki gets damage, summons King of Hell, refix them all up. Warlords get damage. Kuma, all right, slaps, it gives them the pat on the back, damage negated. So it really kind of becomes who can heal the most, who can play team support the best. And I feel like it's Kuma playing team support the best because he's just faster, and so he can do it faster, which means he could do it better. And then also like one tap. So then you got Nagato, which basically has all the powers of pain, but better since this is the main body controlling the paths of pain. So Nagato, uh, just Nagato is just better. Nagato also is faster, and can also use the Chibaku Tensei, to actually like hold people into meteors and whatnot. But as we've known, people like Mihawk and Doflamingo, we can even scale this down lower. Doflamingo has shown to split apart Fujitora's meteors, which are the same size as the Chibaku Tenseis, back since Dressrosa. Like I've said, we are in Egghead. Mihawk still hasn't even shown his full power, his full capabilities. So cutting meteors is light work for Mihawk. Doflamingo. Doflamingo can do it. Mihawk can do it. Jinbei stronger than Doflamingo, so Jinbei can do it. Crocodile stronger than Doflamingo. Crocodile can do it. Boa stronger than Doflamingo. Boa can do it. Law is stronger than Doflamingo. Law can do it. I'll get into Law on the Warlord side. Kuma is stronger than Doflamingo. Kuma could do it. So it is what it is. Or maybe Kuma isn't stronger than Doflamingo. Maybe they're around the same time. It's very hard to try to power scale Kuma post time skip since we don't really see a lot of Kuma fighting. But we know at least during Marineford, Kuma was really strong. He's strong enough to one shot an ancient giant. that ancient giant being stronger or being bigger or way bigger than any of the Bijus of the Naruto verse. So that kind of puts in perspective how strong he is. Moving on to Obito. So Obito, no ten tails, but the ghetto statue is fair game because it is a summon, but I don't think it will do anything. Yeah, I don't think the ghetto statue would really do anything because like Mihawk can completely slice a mountain range, and same with Law. And also Doflamingo could put the entirety of Dressrosa in a birdcage. So, and if Zoro can easily slice Pika, who is assimilated and is basically bigger than the Gato statue, there is an actual size comparison of One Piece towards Naruto. So yes, if Dressrosa Zoro can slice through Pika, who is at least comparable in size to a fully summoned Gato statue, everyone else can slice through that. Since Zoro wasn't even commander level at that time, he was not even Yonko commander level at that time. So with that being said, Geto statue does not matter. Mm. So we have Renegon Sharingan Obito, which I'm not going to consider him. I'm not going to consider him bringing in the Edo summonings of the other tail beast. Because if I'm going to do that, then I'm gonna just give the Warlords their own crews, which then makes this a very one-sided stomp. So, not going to do that. This is all going to be based off of Obito's soul power. Obito can basically do everything Nagato can do, but better. Can do everything that Pain can do, but better. And Obito essentially has Kamui, lets him go in and out of dimensions. Issue is that we that the issue is that Mihawk can basically see it coming with future sight and then react to it because Mihawk scales to Shanks. Shanks, spoiler alert. Shanks, as of chapter 1079, basically moved from the shores of Elbaf all the way out to sea where Kid and Killer was at, and one-shotted Kid and Killer, and Kid at that time was worth 3 billion berries, came right off from helping Law defeat Big Mom, which was the Yonko of the Seas, and Shanks speed blitzed him. Keep in mind, Killer and Kid both has been blitzed by Kaido and Big Mom up to that point and has reacted and even tanked some of their attacks, got up and kept on fighting throughout the whole entirety of Onigashima raid up until the end of it. And they were able to basically heal themselves, got back to 100%, into even a stronger version of themselves after the Onigashima raid, and Shanks still one-tapped them within the span of a couple of panels. That was how fast he is. That was how fast Shanks is. Mihawk scales to that. Like no matter who I give abilities to, no one is going to be stronger than Mihawk on this level. Shanks used observation hockey because Shanks wouldn't had to use divine departure if Kid wasn't going to raid Shanks. True, and Shanks has the best observation hockey feat as of currently. Shanks's observation hockey could see 10 seconds into the future. He probably can see more. He was just seeing 10 seconds. We don't know the height of Shanks's observation hockey, but what we do know is that Mihawk is known as clairvoyant. So Mihawk's observation hockey or future sight has to be at least around the same levels of Shanks, especially with the epithet or his original epithet clairvoyant, and especially we know that Hawkeye's you know he's known for his hawk eyes. That's why he has the title Hawkeye, Mihawk, and that is why we have that is also why Mihawk and Marine Ford could basically test Luffy and basically see the future. So, like the Kamui really isn't going to be that scary, at least towards Mihawk. Mihawk is basically going to have to be tied down fighting Obito and even Jubito. Now we don't know Mihawk's full power, but what we do know, we can at least scale him around Shanks's level. Shanks being a person who can literally conquer Hockey Lightning, rain you from miles outside of a country, and his swordsman skills are super high enough to where he's one-shotting high-level pirates. So we know that Obito, this version of Obito, as shown in the picture, can 1v1 fist fight Kakashi to basically a draw. And I even think Kakashi was winning that fist fight when they were doing the flashbacks, because it was supposed to be reminiscent to how they were fist fighting as, or hand-to-hand combating as kids. And Kakashi was always basically a step ahead of Obito, and how Kakashi basically was just better. Uh, if Obito is not winning in hand-to-hand combat against Kakashi, who legitimately only had one Sharingan at that time, and half of his chakra reserves were being cut because of that one Sharingan at that time, and we know that Kakashi was stronger. He was stronger as the sixth Hokage than double EMS Kakashi, because when he developed Purple Lightning at its height can legitimately call in massive storms that can basically rain over a country. And Kakashi was stronger than that, than what Kakashi basically was when he was like pumping out like Susanoo, right? And this version of Obito was losing in a hand-to-hand combat to a Kakashi that is weaker than double EMS or double Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi. Like, come on, like, how do we scale Boa? I will get into Boa later, because Boa is kind of a wild card. The thing is that due to that power scaling, he cannot go up against Mihawk. So then I have to give him Jubito. And so when we get into Jubito, then he has Truth Seeker Orbs. Truth Seeker Orbs, kind of low-key a lot of hacks, one-shot potential. Man. Truth Seeker Orbs are going to be very, very, very strong. We know that Naruto was able to hit out the Truth Seeker Orbs because he had Yin Yang Release and Six Paths Chakra. But with that being said, Mihawk should be really fast compared to Shanks. And not only that, Mihawk also should be able to dodge them with relative ease due to his advanced observation hockey. Not only that, Law should be able to basically be a fourth Hokage stand-in for the Warlords and be able to basically shambles anything in the way of the Truth Seeker's orbs and play support in that role. So, with that being said, I highly doubt the Truth Seeker orbs are really mattering that much. And what about the Sword of Nunoboko? Now, the Sword of Nunoboko, I think I pronounced that right. The Sword of Nunoboko clashing with Mihawk's Yoru is going to be actually one hype and very interesting. I think due to Mihawk's expert level swordsmanship and hockey, I feel like it can clash. It's see this is one of those discrepancies where it's very hard to tell because you either give it to One Piece verse or you give it to the Naruto verse. Since we don't really know the interactions between these two verses, the most we can really do is just for the sake of trying to make make a fair make a fair enough fight. I guess the swords can clash. I don't know if the sword could completely obliterate Mihawk's sword or vice versa. And even if it could, wouldn't you just chalk it down to Mihawk would just see it coming with future sight and just not try to go for the sword clash and just kind of range spam him with really high level like sword slashes? Kind of kind of a little bit sketchy. Not gonna lie. Uh, uh, uh. So, with that being said, it is Zetsu time. Zetsu is completely negligible. Doesn't really have any combat feats. He's mostly a spy and can infiltrate things just by like popping in and out of things. So Zetsu really doesn't add anything of substance to the Akatsuki's team. So then we have Kakazu. Kakazu, interestingly enough, can only be defeated if you destroy all five of his hearts, has all five chakra types, and can basically has like a wider range of abilities. Also can basically reattach his head, reattach limbs, and also works with Hidan and can also help reattach Hidan's limbs. Now, the thing about it is that this is very hard to say. Now, but we see a Russian shrew can destroy three hearts, so Doflamingo should be able to do so easily. That is true. That is true. Rasen Shuriken was able to easily destroy three of his hearts. Jinbei, I don't know if Fishman Karate and Jinbei like launching off a shockwave could be able to do that. And if you really want to try to chalk it up to Gecko Moria, could just one shot Kakazu just by pulling out his shadow and then just letting the sun turn him into dust. I guess you technically could say that that Gecko Moria can actually one shot or not one shot, but he could at least help in killing Orochimaru, Kakazu, and Hidan, which would be like this immortal trio kind of going on for the Akatsukis. For the Akatsuki, like that would be interestingly enough, even though Moria doesn't really have a lot of good speed feats and durability feats aside from like tanking Thriller Bark Straw Hat's attacks because he's like a giant. So the thing about it is that people like Crocodile, who's much stronger right now, that we don't actually have a quantifiable level of strength. Maybe we'll get it in chapter 1087 because the Seraphim, the crocodile the crocodile, Doflamingo, and Moria Seraphim are actually coming to Karibari Kingdom to apprehend Buggy, Crocodile, and Mihawk. I think we'll see Mihawk like flex his strength and take out two of the Seraphim while Crocodile will probably just end up taking the Seraphim that's going to copy him in Flex. Uh that's my headcanon towards it. So even though I can't really use that, we do know that Crocodile is worth 1.9 billion berries, and even though berries don't amount to strength, he still has the world government still sees him as a higher threat level than that of King the Wildfire, which could basically do some Sephiroth attacks and make it rain down like magma dragons. So for Crocodile to upscale from that in the eyes of the world government, Crocodile can most likely just touch Kakazu and just completely like turn him to sand, or use some huge sand attacks to completely destroy Kakazu's hearts. I don't really see how they get. I don't really see how Kakazu also really does damage either to them, because I mean, like, I don't think water release is really doing anything towards Jinbei. I don't think wind release is really doing anything towards the others. I don't think fire release isn't really doing anything towards Kuma. And I mean, the most he really has is lightning release, and mm, I don't know. I don't know. But, speaking about hearts, Law, Captain of the Heart Pirates. I mean, I'm pretty sure Law can just mess everything and then just like destroy all of his hearts. Or Law could just hit up amputate and then just mess around with Kakazu and just duel away with him like that. And then we get into Hidan. Hidan just completely gets neg-diffed by Law. Law just amputates him, leaves him there. That's it. Also, Buggy counters Hidan. Like, what is Hidan really doing against Buggy? Because Buggy legitimately uh immunes every single one of his slashes. Hidan would have to try to stab Buggy with his little like rod to do his whole Joshian sacrifice ritual, and we know Buggy will just run away and essentially stall Hidan. And not only that, Buggy has them buggy bombs. Them buggy bombs are nukes. Them buggy bombs are legitimately comparable to like Datara bombs uh currently in the story. So I mean, even though those buggy bombs won't necessarily defeat Hidan, they might blow away some of his limbs and create and cause Hidan to be incapacitated. So, and Buggy's pretty smart. He's pretty crafty because Buggy is immune to Mihawk without Hockey, so Hidan does nothing. Yeah, that is true. So, uh, Buggy. So I mean, like Hidan really doesn't do much in this scenario. Then we have Kisame. Kisame versus Jinbei. Jinbei's just better. Like what's Kisame going to do? Create like a water bubble and then strengthen Jinbei, because then Jinbei gets 10 times strength underwater because he's a fishman. Jinbei was able to punch a weakened Big Mom off the ship, off of the Thousand Sunny. That same Big Mom that no one could actually like harm at that point in time of the story in Whole Cake Island. That and like, Jinbei completely destroyed Who's who was like the strongest besides X Drake, of course, but the strongest Toby Ropo member. I mean, I just like, obviously Semihata can't steal chakra since the warlords don't have any chakra, so I like, it's just Kizame, just the fight between Kizame and Jinbei just essentially ends up strengthening Jinbei. So nah. Kizame just loses. And then we have my main man Itachi, my favorite Akatsuki member. And I will be the first one to say, as a registered Akatsuki Itachi stan, and I still hold the head canon of or the agenda of Itachi could have completely, and keep in mind, this is non-sick Itachi, so this is a stronger version of Itachi. So the Itachi that we basically saw resurrected as an Edo and basically took on Kabuto, like Sage Mode Kabuto, and completely flexed on him and outsmarted him and defeated him, that Itachi. He that version of Itachi is honestly stronger than Nagato, because we've seen that version of Itachi outsmart Nagato and then seal him. That version of Itachi is legitimately second strongest to Obito, only because Obito has both the Rinnegan in the Sharingan at this time. This version of Akatsuki, even though I love him to death, and I think he's one of the strongest in the verse, like definitely top 15 strongest in the verse, still loses to the likes of Law. There's also Totsuka Blade, the Mirror, and the Susanoo. So here is the thing about it. The Magatama beads is a very strong projectile. Like in this battle, Itachi has to go Susanoo from the jump. Uh Towards people like Mihawk, who have really good reaction speed and even has observation hockey, like Amaterasu's not touching. We've seen the fourth Raikage dodge Amaterasu before it even like got summoned into existence. So using like Raikage, the fourth Raikage speed from the whole raid on the Kage Summit, like Mihawk is casually that speed, and Law is legitimately fourth Raikage. Is not even just fourth Raikage speed. Law is flying Raijin speed, and flying Raijin speed is still one of the most potent jutsus in all of the verse, even up until the end game. So Law moving at flying Raijin speed completely negates Amaterasu. Law also could destroy a whole mountain range by Punk Hazard, and we're talking about Law that fought Blackbeard in Egghead Island. Yes, he lost to Blackbeard, but he still outlived that fight in at least extreme diff Blackbeard, since Blackbeard was huffing, puffing, was bloody, and Blackbeard pulled up on Law with his other commanders just to help him in that fight. So Law was fighting in unfavorable terms, and Law still managed to get out alive thanks to Sulong Beppo. So, with that being said, Law is still very strong. Law can basically one shot any Susanoo Itachi pulls out just by amputating it. And even Law can just shambles Itachi out of the Susanoo. And once Itachi's out of the Susanoo like fades away, as we've seen when Gaara pulled Madara out of his Susanoo. So Tsukuyomi cannot be used because none of the warlords have chakra, has a chakra system. Because if the thing is, if I used the whole verse equalization and allowed Tsukuyomi to be able to be used on the warlords, then the adverse effect would also happen, and the warlords would be able to negate Tsukuyomi because their hockey would just be stronger. Like, their hockey would legitimately just negate the Tsukuyomi. So we still end up as Itachi can't pull out Tsukuyomi on anyone. So and just because of Susanoo's, Itachi can't Tsukuyomi because he can only do 2-3 Amaterasu, Susanoo's Tsukuyomi's a day, and couldn't do that at the same time. That too, Itachi can't really do it all at the same time, and can only do it even at a 100% non-sick Itachi. Itachi can only still do it for limited amounts of time before running out of chakra. And so the only things that he can really do is try to do. I mean, the thing is that I don't even think Izanami really works in doing the infinite loop. I don't think that really works. Again, the whole chakra thing, because it's a genjutsu. Izanagi, yeah, he could resurrect himself, but to what avail? He would basically just nerf himself when he comes back to life and just be a weakened version of himself. And then he would have to use Izanagi again and then just be blind, just be permablind. So what real use is that? Um, and again, now yes, sure. With Shusui's eyes using Koto Matsukami and like trying to mind control people again. That's a genjutsu. I cannot chalk up a genjutsu against the warlords due to them not having a chakra system. Again, if I want to give them a chakra system for genjutsu to work, then that just means hockey overrides that, and their stronger will basically defeats the genjutsu. So genjutsu cannot be used no matter where you spin it or how you spin it. Genjutsu cannot be used. So that completely negates one of Itachi's like major strengths and how he is like the best genjutsu user of the series. He can't even use his best strength. So yes, Totsuka Blade can seal a person. The issue is Totsuka Blade has to hit the person, and people like Mihawk and Law have fought people who are bigger than Itachi's Susanoo. Obviously, I'm not going to use Itachi's perfect Susanoo from the video games because that is a video game only thing, and Itachi could not use that to the levels of the like in canon. But if I did want to highball Itachi and give him a perfect Susanoo for whatever reason, like Law could still shambles him out, and Itachi Susanoo will always be deactivated, which then puts Itachi into a worse scenario, which now he has to rely on fire. Like he has to rely on fire style. He has to rely on trying to hit people with just his range Susanoo attacks like his Magatama beads, and just trying his best to spam out Amaterasu to the best of his abilities and trying to catch people off guard, even though the One Piece verse scales as high as the fourth Raikage, especially the Warlords. So yeah, he can use his clone things, but his clone things are just genjutsu. So again, I mean, like sure, if I'm gonna use his clones, his exploding clones, sure. I mean, he can do some tactical stuff with it and try to catch people off guard and blow them up with it. I'll give him that, but I don't really think those explosions are really going to do anything because those explosions are definitely not on the same level as a buggy bomb, and even then, Buggy can survive his own buggy bomb. So yeah, like dude, like the buggy bomb from East Blue is stronger than like Itachi's crow, like his Itachi's crow explosions, and bug in East Blue Buggy can survive his own buggy bombs, and we're talking about like egghead level of power scaling here. Like that's like that's not going to work on the warlords. And also his whole crow genjutsu to avoid attacks. I mean, if that's the thing, the crow, like, okay, so he can use the crow to tell incoming attacks to avoid, but at the same time, he can't use any genjutsu to fight the warlords because they don't have any chakra system to manipulate. And the reason why I say that is because if you look into genjutsu on the Narutopedia, It says by establishing eye contact with a target, the shar or well, it's talking about wait, that's Genjutsu Sharingan. I don't care about Genjutsu Sharingan. Or I guess let's well, Genjutsu is one of the main jutsu categories which uses chakra. Unlike ninjutsu, the effects of Genjutsu are not real, being only sensory illusions experienced by those who fall victim to it. According to the second Mizukage, Genjutsu falls under the broad category of yin release, and basically, a genjutsu is created when a ninja controls the chakra flow of a target's cerebral nervous system. So, using that and all this is basically the Sharingan increases the strength of a genjutsu, thanks to the Sharingan. They would need they need to be able to attach themselves to the cerebral nervous system of a person's chakra system. Since they don't have a chakra system, they can't do that. So Itachi can't use any form of his genjutsu. Now, after all of this, and I know I'm going to have to go. I know I'm going to have to like go back and make so many clip timestamps of this. We're going to get into the Warlords now. We are going to get into Boa. Boa is very interesting. None of the Akatsukis have shown to be womanizers. None of the Akatsukis have shown to really care about women or any relationships. They're ninjas. They are very not just ninjas. They are S class rogue ninjas that are very like by the books, very hard asses and stern. So I highly doubt any of them are getting turned to stone. With that being said, Boa has also shown the capacity of just turning people into stone by simply kicking them or shooting her love arrows towards them, and that really falls underneath her devil fruit abilities. If I mean, you could say that that's a one shot ability, and if she hits you with that, it's GG's for the Akatsukis. But not just that, to even power scale Boa further, if you remember back in Saba Odi, a pacifista, one pacifista was giving all of the Straw Hats a run for their money. Kuma is stronger than a pacifista, and Kuma speed blitzed all of the warlord, or not warlords, all of the Straw Hats and completely displaced them, which leads to them training. Not just that, Boa Hancock in the Marineford War has shown to legitimately one-shot pacifistas. So the same pacifistas that were basically destroying the Straw Hats on Saba Odi, Boa could effortlessly one-shot them. Not only that, Boa has Conqueror's Hockey, has Observation Hockey, has Armament Hockey, and Boa was able to legitimately destroy Blackbeard, all of Blackbeard's commanders, being Katarina Devon, uh, man, who was there? Boa versus Black Beard. Let me see if I can get the receipts up, because memory is not serving me correct, because she was getting jumped, and if I can try and remember, man, I know Katarina Devon was there. Bro. I think Stronger was there. Chapter 1059. Maybe if I look up One Piece. Well, I actually don't want to look up One Piece chapters 1059 and get this whole like video reported for copyright or like copyrighted. So, uh I don't know why everything is like taking so long to load. This is so unnatural. Uh, does it give the is no one saying anyone? Two of his commanders petrified and two unknown potential Lunarian weapons in Dark King. Not worth the risk. Oh yeah. So two of his commanders were petrified. I completely forget. I think one of them was Avaro Pizarro that got petrified. But we at least know that two of Blackbeard's commanders got petrified. I know one of them was Katarina Devon. We don't really know how strong Katarina Devon is, but we know that she is one of Blackbeard's 10 Titanic commanders. So she still is in that range of like Toby Ropo commander level. So she completely like one shot. She completely one tapped them. And then even Blackbeard gave her props, and Blackbeard said that even she could potentially like win against him with her devil fruit. So I don't think it was Vasco shot. But like with that being said, like don't sleep on Boa. A lot of people in the One Piece community sleep on Boa. Boa is legitimately first Yonko commander to honestly low admiral level character at this point. And we know around that level of power, like we're talking about King, who basically can rain down magma dragons, like I stated earlier, basically Sephiroth himself. We're talking about the Katakuris, which can see into the future and then make his special paramecia look like a Logia, and was 1v1ing Snake Man Luffy, even though Katakuri isn't really as strong anymore now, and I would say that Boa is stronger than Katakuri. Boa is still strong. Boa was neg diffing, not like legitimately neg diffing pacifistas since Marineford. And we're talking about, and we're an egghead, baby. Like Boa is obviously probably stronger. Or if not, we haven't seen Boa's real power. And even if you want to go into non-canon material, when you watch One Piece film Stampede, legitimately Boa was running like no hesitation, running at Douglas Bullet when Douglas Bullet was showing off Yonko level abilities and powers at least, or if not admiral level abilities and powers with his awakening fruit to make like this huge mech that is larger than anything in the One Piece verse that we've, or not larger than anything in the One Piece verse. Actually, it was actually very large. It is honestly trending towards one of the larger things in the One Piece verse, and by extension, larger than anything that of the Naruto verse could ever like hold or has ever shown. And she ran up to that mechanical beast and then just kicked a huge crater, and then helped basically like the whole, and then was a part of the whole team up sequence that led to Douglas Bullet's downfall. So if you want to hype up her strength, also from that movie, like Boa is no slouch. Boa is a goat. Do not sleep on Boa. So Boa, with that being said, could legitimately destroy Conan. Uh, she could legitimately destroy, like she can physically go blow for blow and destroy almost probably every one of the Akatsukis just on her like physicality alone. Since she scales at least mountain level. She scales at least mountain level. But if you want to lowball Boa, how strong is Odin? Is he Yonko level? Well,
that's a whole other topic. But Odin is at least low Yonko level since he has advanced Conqueror's Hockey. Um, and he was fighting Kaido, and Kaido was strong, was afraid of him, and the only reason why he lost towards Kaido was because he was distracted. It was because he was distracted. So I would give the benefit of the doubt, saying that Odin is Yonko level, and by extension, that means Scopper Gabin is Yonko level because in the flashback, Scopper Gabin and Odin basically were fighting to a standstill uh, when the Roger Pirates were facing off against the Whitebeard Pirates. And not only that, like Rayleigh was known as the Dark King, so he was stronger than both Odin and Scopper Gabin in his prime. So Rayleigh was in his prime Yonko level. So I mean, I don't think Boa could compete with Odin in Odin's prime back when Odin fought like not Blackbeard, Kaido. But Boa is still at least like she's she's either right there at low admiral level, like she can give an admiral a run for their money, but she might not be as strong as an admiral. But I could still count her as stronger than like most Yonko first Yonko commanders. If not, she's at least first Yonko commander. Then we go into Kuma. Like I said, Kuma's strength is definitely weird because we don't really see a lot of him fighting post time skip, but we do know from his like I said, from his showcases in Marineford, he's able to one shot Ors Jr., who is basically bigger, maybe even big as the Gato statue summoning. He's able to one shot him. Kuma is very fast. He's fast enough to completely speed blitz all of the Straw Hats at Saba Odi, and by that time they were able to react to light speed attacks. If not, definitely Sanji is able to react to light speed attacks, and Kuma was like blitzing Sanji. So it is what it is. Kuma is also a robot, does not get tired, and basically can displace people with the touch of his palms. It has one shot potential, and yeah, and is very durable. So I don't know if Kuma. I don't know if I'm gonna say Kuma is Admiral level, but Kuma is definitely at least Yonko Commander level. To that extent, I don't know. He could be third Yonko Commander. He could be second Yonko Commander, or he could be first Yonko Commander. I don't know. It really is hard to tell with Kuma, but I can at least say he's Yonko Commander level. Then you have Crocodile, who recently just got up to Yonko Commander level due to his bounty. I'm going to safely say he's first Yonko Commander level. Definitely because like the world government isn't going to give someone like second Yonko Commander level like a bounty of 1.9 billion. Like that's just delusional. So Crocodile, for all intents and purposes, is going to be first Yonko Commander level. And what I mean by Yonko Commander level, I mean people who are comparatively on the same tier as King and Katakuri. More so King, since King is stronger than Katakuri, and King can basically rain down hellfire and destroy like a whole like city. Because he's a Lunarian. So comparing Crocodile to that level of power. Like Crocodile completely destroy a whole like village of Naruto. Similarly to how Gaara can destroy a whole village in Naruto. But the thing about it is that Crocodile also has poison, um, like a very potent poison in his hook. He also has access to hockey, obviously. By this point of the like, if he's Yonko Commander level, he has hockey. Uh, I guess the same goes for Kuma too. Not only that, if he grabs you, it's basically game over. That's one shot. He could basically make you shrivel up by absorbing all of the water in your system. But he also is weak to water, so I mean, he probably has more of a tolerance right now because, like, if you guys remember, Green Bull said that he overcame his weakness or his devil fruit's weakness by having fireproof or flameproof a forest. So that probably means that Crocodile has overcame his weakness at this point in time in the story of his water weakness. And I theorize that Jinbei will be the one to fight Crocodiles so we can have a Warlord on Warlord action. And also, it makes sense because Jinbei can control water. If Crocodile basically beat his or defeated his weakness of water, then it gives Jinbei something to struggle and then allows Jinbei to tap into like a new level of Fishman karate that we should see in order to like defeat Crocodile at that point in time. But the thing is that still, even if I'm going to say Crocodile is still going to be weak to water, Kisame versus Crocodile, I don't know. I mean, it's very hard to say because even when Luffy was using water to like counter Crocodile, Crocodile still won against Luffy two times before Luffy used his own blood to then defeat Crocodile. And by that time, Crocodile was already like fighting Luffy throughout all of Alabasta and getting weaker. Can we skip Mihawk? We all know what he does. So I mean, Crocodile versus Kisame, very interesting. But honestly, I don't really think Crocodile will fight Kisame. I think Jinbei would take up that mantle to fight Kisame, and Crocodile would like use his AOE attacks to defeat people who are more dangerous in an AOE sense, like Kakazu and whatnot. While Boa would definitely probably try to destroy Sorcery, since you know she's shown to make Pacifista stone. So if she could probably make Sorcery's puppets stone and completely destroy them that way, and then eventually destroy Sorcery with her Devil Fruit abilities and or just massive amounts of damage output potential that surpasses that of the Sakura that he fought around part one, or like the first arc of part two. So I mean, like Boa versus Sorcery, I think Boa's taking it. Yeah. Also, if Crocodile can crush Datara's arms like Gara did, he is rendered useless. That is true. That is true. Datara's abilities are all in his arms. Uh, Also, Crocodile survived a fight from Whitebeard, the world's strongest man. So this dude is hella durable. So it's going to take like several of those bombs that Data used to threaten to destroy the Sand Village. It's going to take multiple of those just to put down Crocodile. So Mihawk, Mihawk. I'm gonna be brief. Mihawk by himself can legitimately solo half of these people. Like no one is winning against Mihawk, and I mean like in the most respectful way possible. Orochimaru versus Mihawk does not happen. Orochimaru gets split in half. Sasori versus Mihawk. Mihawk completely just negatives every single part of Sasori. And I mean, like, yeah, sure, Sasori can rebuild himself, but like, then Mihawk completely just stabs his heart. Like, Sasori doesn't have the speed feats to even match that of Shanks, and if Mihawk is scaling towards Shanks and Shanks' speed and swordsmanship, Shanks completely Shanks and by extension Mihawk completely shits on Sorcery. Datara, like Mihawk could probably deduce that Datara has to use his hands to make bombs. Like Datara's arms are getting sliced off. Data is useless. Has to use C0. Mihawk probably can use Future Sight to counter that. And I don't even think like his C0 his his suicide technique is even going to really harm him. The only thing Datara really has is that C3 technique that disperses uh disperses and can basically disintegrate people from the inside out. But I'm pretty sure Mihawk's observation hockey is, especially since he's known for his observation hockey, I'm pretty sure his observation hockey is honed to a level that he can even tell the microscopic bombs. So I mean, or maybe he can reinforce himself with hockey, with armament hockey to like defend himself. So I mean, that one is kind of that one you're gonna have to highball Datara to no avail trying to touch Mihawk. And if the other stronger members of the Akatsuki aren't really fighting Mihawk better, then I doubt Datara is. So goes to Mihawk. Conan goes to Mihawk. Uh, Pass the pain. They can't absorb anything. Legitimately one slice. If Mihawk is casually destroying a mountain range by Marineford, and we still don't know Mihawk's like max power, and he is the world's greatest swordsman. Even the world government says he has better swordsman skill than that of Shanks. Shanks being a Yonko, Shanks being basically the Chad that he is, and just really strong to the point where it's even argued that Shanks is even stronger than Mihawk by maybe other means like his Conqueror's hockey, whatnot. Like in the SBSs of One Piece state that Mihawk and Shanks is known as the world's strongest rivalry in One Piece. Like Mihawk is the only Yonko level character on this like on this uh on this roster. And the fact of the matter is that Mihawk can legitimately destroy islands that are multi-continental in size. So Mihawk is a multi-continental level threat. Mihawk can completely destroy, and I mean effortlessly destroy and I mean all of the villages of Naruto. And also, if you really want to say bring up the whole seven swordsmen of the Hidden Mist, the group that Kisame was a part of. Like I'm pretty sure that Mihawk can destroy all of them by himself with minimal difficulty, with how strong uh he has shown himself to be while he isn't trying. And also, come on, like even if Kisame wasn't fighting against Jinbei, maybe Mihawk will try to test Kisame's sword skill, and like Kisame is getting completely destroyed. If Kisame got destroyed by, I mean, if Kisame got destroyed by Killer B, right? Like he's getting destroyed by Mihawk. Yeah, and honestly, Mihawk versus the five Kage during Shippuden, he probably wins that too. Like Tsunade loses against Mihawk. He has Future Sight. He has Future Sight and is on the same speed, has the same reaction speed as of Shanks, which would put him on to like fourth Raikage reaction speed. So he basically can destroy the fourth Raikage. Uh, Onoiki, I mean, like all Onoiki really has is dust release to try to one shot Mihawk, but I'm pretty sure Mihawk could probably destroy Onoki faster than Onoki can destroy Mihawk due to Onoki's old age. And the like May, Terumi May or May Terumi, definitely not destroying Mihawk. And so then that really leaves Gara, and he's definitely not destroying Mihawk. So Mihawk legitimately blitzes everyone. The only person that can really try to give him a run for his money is the fourth Raikage, which was pretty much the strongest Raikage at that point in time. And I still don't think he can get past Mihawk's future sight. So yeah, so it's just like if so like Mihawk is like Madara level, bro. And I don't even think Madara can win against Mihawk because like if you think about it, Madara has to use like okay, yes, Madara uses Chibaku Tensei, right? He's raining a meteor. Mihawk has already shown to effortlessly destroy Fujitora's meteor and legitimately splits it into like several pieces to avoid a like a catastrophe onto the island in One Piece film Stampede. So like Madara can't Chibaku Tensei Mihawk. What, Madara is gonna go perfect Susano and try to sword clash with Mihawk? Okay. Mihawk takes it a little bit more serious, and Mihawk can completely effortlessly split a mountain range the size of Madara's perfect Susano in Marineford. And that's Mihawk not trying. Mihawk can legitimately one tap Madara Susano and just busts it. Like, what is Madara doing? Haki won't even need armament. Mihawk won't even need armament Haki. And since these characters are strong willed, Conquerors won't work tier. Yeah, I mean, Conquerors also won't work towards Akatsuki because of strong willed. And we don't even know if Mihawk actually does have Conquerors Haki because there is also an argument that he doesn't have Conquerors Haki and he's just Yonko level without Conquerors Haki, which actually is more impressive if he doesn't have Conquerors Haki. That just means his armament and observation Haki is just that strong that it basically puts him on a level of Shanks. Which honestly, to all the Mihawk fans, like I'm a Shanks fan over Mihawk, and I'm in the category that Shanks is stronger than Mihawk. But if Mihawk is stronger than Shanks, you guys better be hoping Mihawk does not have Conqueror's Haki because that would basically upscale Mihawk more if Mihawk doesn't have Conqueror's Haki and is stronger than Shanks than Mihawk having Conqueror's Haki and then is stronger than Shanks. Because that just means Mihawk is just that much of the GOAT that he doesn't even need advanced Conqueror's Haki just to be top tier. He's just top tier on base Haki alone, which that's more impressive. But besides all of that, like if Madara is not on the same level of Mihawk, none of these Akatsuki members are on the same level of Mihawk, which only leaves like Jubito. So Jubito is going to be Mihawk's biggest fight. And the reason why is because Truth Seeker orbs and the Sword of New Boko. Again, I believe we've seen that staff actually clash with normal weapons. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But I think we've seen Naruto like pull up and like clash with a kunai. No, Sasuke's clashed with his sword against it. So that means Mihawk's sword can clash against it, especially if Mihawk coats it in armament Haki. The staff only deletes chakra. Thank you, Hideki. So like Mihawk is legitimately clashing with that staff, and Mihawk is the One Piece's world's greatest swordsman. Like if Obito can't, what if Obito in dual Rinnegan and Sharingan can't 1v1 box Kakashi with Kakashi only being having a singular Sharingan, and that Sharingan takes half of his chakra, like drains half of his chakra constantly. So Kakashi can't even tap into most of his chakra pool, and Kakashi still won against Kakashi still won against this Obito with just running the hands. Why do you think like Jubito Obito is going to like win against like Mihawk in a weapons to weapons or sword to sword skill? Like, come on, come on. Yeah, if Sasuke, an amateur swordsman, holds off that staff, I mean, I guess Sasuke became kind of a master swordsman, uh, like around that time because he got that six paths buff. But still, it doesn't even matter because Mihawk is still stronger than Sasuke at that point. If Sasuke can clash with that staff with his own sword, and that sword has no special properties, Mihawk is clashing with that staff, and maybe Mihawk is breaking that staff. Like, Mihawk is throttling Jubito at that point. Because if you think about it, Mihawk throttles this version of Obito, which, again, this version of Obito lost in hand to hand combat against a weaker Kakashi than 6th Hokage Kakashi. That 6th Hokage Kakashi is weaker than Mihawk. So that means the strongest version of Obito, being Jubito, like 10th Tails Jubito, is literally weaker than is still weaker than this dude, than weaker than Mihawk, who still hasn't shown his full capabilities. This is just me scaling him off of what Shanks has shown. And what Shanks has shown still isn't even Shanks's like full capabilities. So there's still a level of strength that Mihawk could still tap into, meaning Mihawk can legitimately solo the Ten Tails if he wanted to. Like like bro, cut the shit. Like Mihawk himself can almost probably body the whole entirety of the Akatsuki, but just to like highball the Akatsuki, like Mihawk is going to have his hands tied with Jubito. And the thing that's going to tie Mihawk's hands are definitely Truth Seeker orbs and trying to spam that out, and then Mihawk trying to use his Future Sight observation hockey to avoid the Truth Seekers. And Jubito wasn't complete. So the strongest version of Obito was an incomplete form of being the 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Mihawk could probably box the Otsutsuki if he wanted to. Bro, the Kages were boxing the Otsutsuki. The Kages in Boruto were boxing Momoshiki. Like, dude. Boruto using planetary Rasengan like destroyed the Momoshiki. So like I have no reason to think like Mihawk can't destroy like Momoshiki or even Kaguya to that point. Also walking home from a park. Good job. Get your steps in, man. Like Zetsu. I mean, obviously like Mihawk destroys Zetsu. Mihawk completely just disintegrates Kakazu. If Rasen Shuriken, or if Naruto, fresh off of learning Rasen Shuriken without using like Sage Mode or anything, can destroy 3 hearts of Kakazu, like Mihawk is destroying like all of Kakuzu's hearts. Mihawk basically decimates Hidan and just turns him into a pile of mush or a pile of pieces. Hidan can't fight back. Hidan completely one taps Kisame, treats him like a fishman. And basically, if Mihawk is stronger than Madara, Mihawk is stronger than Itachi. Since Itachi is like the strongest, or is the second strongest Uchiha in the verse. He still kind of has trouble with Ishiki because Barry and Mode Naruto still struggled with that fight, and Barry and Naruto can be compared to Mihawk. That, at least, is fair. That is at least fair. But at the same point in time, we still don't even know Mihawk's full potential. So Mihawk's full potential can still at least match Ishiki and still like win. Since Baryon mode got the job at least done, somewhat done against Ishiki. Uh Moving on to Jinbei, like Jinbei obviously trying to scale Jinbei to he's definitely at least third to second commander level currently in the series. I feel like Jinbei's main fight will be against Kizame, which then again like Kizame powers up Jinbei, Jinbei just destroys Kizame. That's it. Uh that's about it. And also if going back to Boa, if Boa could destroy two Yonko commanders of Blackbeard of the Blackbeard pirates, then Boa can legitimately destroy Conan and Zetsu by herself at the same time. You probably can throw in Orochimaru in there too, and Boa's probably slapping him too. But if not, then yeah. Uh Gecko Moria. Moria is kind of interesting. Feel like Moria would be like the one fight that the Akatsukis could win against. Mainly because Moria is just very stupid. Um the thing is that I don't think Moria will be fast enough to steal a shadow. And even if he steals a shadow, I mean, well, if he steals a shadow, that weakens the other person. Then I guess technically that means Moria is in a more advantageous spot. Moria doesn't have any confirmed hockey, so like he can't really foresee anything or try to defend himself with any hockey. So a lot of Akatsuki's hacks attacks also can vice versa work on Moria, which he's one of the only warlords that it can work on. So I mean, Datara, I'm pretty sure, wins against Moria. Maybe Sorcery can win against Moria if Sorcery's poison is lethal enough. I don't. I mean, maybe Orochimaru because he's at least Kage level. So, yeah, I think all of the Akatsuki actually kind of win against Moria. I don't really see Moria because like what is Moria gonna do? Try to beef himself up with shadows only for him to be a very slow and easy to hit target for Itachi to Totsuka Blade, or just Itachi looks at Moria and just like Amaterasu him. All right. Hidan hits him with hacks. It like really the Hidan versus Moria fight is, does Moria hit Hidan with hacks or Hidan hits Moria with hacks? If it was Prime Moria, it's rip. True. If it was Moria before he let himself go, true. That's fair. I mean, hey, maybe Moria will have the glow up next time we see him when we're going to start fighting Blackbeard. How does Moria do with non-living things? Because Sasori is non-living. That is actually very true. Um, that is very true, bro. Like I feel I feel like I feel like the fight would basically have to be boiled down to, I feel like Boa is going to run miscellaneous, so any Boa is going to run cleanup. So Boa's cleaning up Boa's gonna run cleanup. Boa's cleaning up Conan in Zetsu, right? Kuma is probably going to try to keep Pain. Kuma is definitely going to try to keep Pain in check, which he can because he's a cyborg and he won't tire out. Um, Orochimaru, I mean, Crocodile can just go up against Orochimaru. Um, in End or Datara, it really depends who you want him to fight. I do think Datara is going to struggle a little bit due to Crocodile's superior durability. Don't know on that one. Doflamingo, happy birthday to Nami today. Welcome, King of the Pirate, King of One Piece Luffy. Thank you, thank you. Also, by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, be sure to follow. And also, if you do like these anime streams, I'll have a lot more anime discussions and stuff, on days that I don't really feel like playing video games. So I could just like chat with y'all. And also, if you guys do enjoy the stream, check me out on the Discord. Come join the Discord. Also, this goes out to the YouTube community that is gonna watch it later. But like Crocodile, he has his choice to pick either Orochimaru and or Datara. I think Crocodile at this point in the time of the series is going to win against both because like Crocodile upon Alabasta was already like city level, like country level with his sand expertise. Now that I'm pretty sure he is awakened, he is definitely going to be like multi-continental level, and he's definitely first Yonko commander level, and he's worth 1.9 billion. So like Crocodile got the glow up. And also Crocodile is a Logia. So no matter like what they really can do, they can't really harm Crocodile. You kind of need Kasame just to like shoot some water over to Crocodile. But if I do remember correctly, I believe Orochimaru has an affinity of water release. So Orochimaru could technically find his weakness because Orochimaru is smart enough to do that. So Orochimaru, I mean, it really comes down to, is Orochimaru strong enough to just harm Crocodile's physical body? Also, funny thing, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Hideki. Orochimaru has 4 out of the 5. Water, fire, wind, and earth. Thank you, chat. So in this scenario, we all know Orochimaru is the king of underhanded tactics in Naruto. He will use underhanded tactics to Crocodile, but Crocodile is also a master of underhanded tactics also. The problem is that, let's say Orochimaru hits him with the water release, Crocodile can be hit. What does Orochimaru have to hit Crocodile that is strong enough to actually harm Crocodile? Because I mean, like, bro, Crocodile lived to fight with Whitebeard. Yeah, Whitebeard took his hand, but like Crocodile still lived that, and Crocodile is in a way stronger form in the current story. So I mean, Orochimaru is going to have to pull out a lot of stops, and I mean a lot. And to the point where, like, I don't even know if Orochimaru has that much chakra to fight him. Like, he's going to have to, like, bust out hella summonings. I mean, what? You're gonna summon a snake to swallow Crocodile, only for Crocodile to kill the snake from the inside out by sapping his moisture. I don't really like, no summonings are really going to deal with the Warlords because, like I said, if we are basically going off of Kuma scaling, if Kuma can basically one-shot someone in the One Piece verse that is like way bigger than any summonings that we've seen the Akatsuki do, which then translates into more strength because of the height, that means like Crocodile can do similar stuff, meaning like Crocodile can one-shot any summoning. So I don't really, I think if Orochimaru had maybe some planetary feat or some really strong feat or attack that we've seen, maybe Orochimaru gets it. But we haven't seen that. All we know is Orochimaru is just really smart and is capable with a lot of underhand tactics. And but like Crocodile is a businessman. Like he's also smart. He also comes with the underhanded tactics. So it's like a battle of underhanded tactics. It really boils down to, does Orochimaru have anything to bypass like Crocodile's natural defense, which I don't think so. So I give the win to Crocodile in this scenario. Funny thing, Boruto Orochimaru can straight up handle Rinnegan Sasuke, not even joke. Does the curse mark do with chakra? So are we giving Orochimaru curse mark? And if Orochimaru can handle Rinnegan Sasuke, then, but that's so weird. Like even if he can handle Rinnegan Sasuke, I feel like that's more of Orochimaru outsmarting Rinnegan Sasuke. My issue is that he doesn't have anything to like straight on just damage, and I'm just mean like completely harm just completely harm this man. Cuz last time I checked, like Crocodile is just really durable. And I mean ludicrously durable. So, yeah, it's part of Orochimaru's chakra. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think I give the slight edge to Crocodile, but it is close. I think Orochimaru versus Crocodile is like probably the closest matchup I could put. Um, honestly, honestly speaking, I think Boa versus Datara. I think Moria is going to be the one on cleanup crew because I think Moria has enough strength to clean up okay, yeah. Moria definitely has enough strength to clean up Conan, and Moria definitely has enough strength to clean up Zetsu. I think Boa is going to have to deal with Datara because if you think about it, Datara has such an infatuation for his art. So couldn't Boa use her devil fruit abilities to instantly turn Datara into stone because she can manipulate that strong feeling? Because even with the fight between Blackbeard, Boa said that even if Blackbeard managed to get her devil fruit ability, right? If Blackbeard was able to get her devil fruit ability, Boa said that he could still use it to the same level as she can. It's just that it would invoke disgust. Like Blackbeard would be able to paralyze people off of disgust. Is it love, or it's just enough emotion? It's just enough emotion that you can turn someone to stone. We learned that when in chapter 1059 when Blackbeard came over to Amazon Lily and was just terrorizing Boa and her people. So with now if it, before that chapter, I could probably say maybe it'd be harder. But after that chapter, I'm going to give the edge to Boa because we know Datara's personality, and I feel like even though Datara isn't a womanizer, I feel like Datara's art love would be his downfall to Boa's devil fruit power. Yeah, it was. But I mean, Blackbeard also clears if it's disgust, since he is a disgusting man and he's ugly. So yeah. So with that being said, I think Boa clears Datara just because like her devil fruit just counters Datara's whole personality. Like I said, Conan Zetsu kind of gets cleaned up by Buggy and Gecko Moria. Or honestly, I'm gonna give Buggy to Hidan because honestly, Buggy just counters Hidan. Buggy balls him, and then Hidan like If he here, I'll put it like this: if Hidan blew up into multiple little pieces from Shikamaru's forest of explosions, the buggy bomb is completely one-shotting Hidan. Buggy wins. I'm gonna give Hidan a buggy. Buggy wins, meaning Gecko Moria can basically deal with Conan and Zetsu. Uh, Conan and Zetsu, and yeah, sure, like C6, like Data C6, like the whole like the nano machine, son, as Senator Armstrong would say. The whole nano bombs would be like really devastating, but Boa has observation hockey to at least know what the hell is going on. And even then, I feel like Boa is definitely going to get off her paralysis more than Datara. But to be honest, Datara is a ranged fighter. Boa can also range fight, so I feel like the fight is going to come down to Boa using arrows, Datara using bombs. Boa, and remember, Earth. Well, Earth release is weaker to lightning, but Boa possibly could turn Datara's clay stones into, or clay bombs into stone. I mean, she turned the pacifistas into stone by just simply kicking them, and they don't even have emotions, and they're just robots. So I mean, I don't know. That one could go either way, whichever way you see it. But I definitely say that Boa invoking Datara's emotions and his love of art would be his downfall. It wouldn't really come down to necessarily who's stronger and who has the better abilities and techniques. I feel like it really comes down to Datara's personality just getting hard countered by Boa's hacks fruit. Um No, like I said, Nagato, like Kuma's gonna have to get this one. Like Kuma's gonna have to. Datara dies from his overconfidence. Yeah, Datara gets turned into stone of his overconfidence in his hubris. Skipping over Conan because I think the Conan Gecko Moria thing I'm gonna get into later because that's gonna take a little bit more to decipher. Pain, like I said with Kuma, like if you really want to say Kuma's gonna pull up with a couple of pacifistas just to deal with the pain with the paths of pain, that would be funny. But uh, I mean, does that even count? Can I even use the pacifistas to deal with to deal with the six paths of pain, since technically those are like extensions of Kuma? I don't think that really counts. Yes, it counts. I mean, here I'm gonna do it with two. So if I do it with that one, then yeah, the pacifista is completely like negative pain, and pain literally just gets destroyed. And I mean, like royally destroyed. But in this scenario, just to make it a little bit more advantageous for the Akatsuki, I'm gonna give this a 1v6 to give Kuma a little bit more run for his money. Kuma, the thing with Kuma is that he has kind of a broken devil fruit, and Kuma is very fast. He's light speed fast. Because Kuma was able to, like I said, was able to destroy or systematically destroy and outspeed the whole entirety of the Straw Hats, and people like Sanji at that time could move faster than light. He has shown in that arc to like outspeed like laser beams, and Kuma is stronger than the pacifistas. And with that being said, like Kuma also was said to shoot off or repel air at light speed back in Thriller Bark, like I said earlier on in the stream. So Kuma has light speed feats. Kuma is really fast. Kuma legitimately, all he has to really do is just keep up with each and every single pain member, and then just swat them away with this devil fruit powers, and then pain kind of gets destroyed by then. Even when you take a like an account of animal path pain, like Kuma, all he has to do is just keep on swatting the animal paths out to make way to reach the animal path uh pain. But with that being said, no, Nagato is dead. Uh, Nagato, like Nagato, who would get Nagato? I guess we could chalk it up to Blackbeard getting Nagato. Blackbeard gets Nagato. Blackbeard gets Nagato, and so since Blackbeard is a Yonko currently, Blackbeard basically can do the same things that Nagato can do: the repelling, the repelling, the retracting, Goro Goro no Mi, which completely just negs Nagato. And yeah, Nagato ain't winning against BB. Not yeah, Nagato ain't winning against BB. Goro Goro no Mi, he sneaks Nagato and gets that kill fast. I know, and also BB is very cunning too. I don't really think Blackbeard is that dumb enough to like just one-on-one Nagato. Yeah, Nagato would get like a couple of good hits in, especially turning in his arm into a laser beam to shoot Blackbeard, and Blackbeard doing his over the top like damage screams and whatnot. But nah. BB has something underneath his sleeve that we don't know, and he was able to defeat Law. He was able to defeat Law. So with that strength level, I mean, BB is the second strongest warlord on this list. Right behind Mihawk. I think Mihawk is stronger than BB, but BB could also potentially be stronger than Mihawk. So he sits in that really high upper level, which means like Nagato can't even like touch him. Also, the issue is, are we talking about Edo Nagato or just living? We are talking about we are talking about a Nagato that is living, but it has Edo Nagato strength. So we are taking the highest of the highest powered versions of the Akatsuki, like Itachi without the sickness debuff. So basically, take Edo Tensei Itachi and then just turn him living. So okay, so he's still fucked either way. Yeah, like he still doesn't win against BB either way. Like Nagato just gets destroyed. Like Nagato gets destroyed mainly because of the Gura Gura no Mi. And then also BB can basically uh copy his almighty pull attacks too. We've already like I said with Mihawk, already went in depth with that. With Obito, already went in depth with Jimbei. Already went in depth with Jimbei, with Kizame. So right now we have left are sorcery matchup. All we have left are Law matchup, a Doflamingo matchup with Kakuzu, Sorcery, Itachi, and like I said, Hidan matches up to Buggy. Buggy wins. Uh, Gecko Moria matches up to Conan in Zetsu because he's going to have to run duo duty. Itachi's going to have to match up to Law. Law just wins. Law has flying Raijin. Law has inbuilt flying Raijin with his Ope Ope no Mi. Law can basically shambles Itachi right out of his Susanoo. So Itachi can't even use Susanoo. And Law can basically make attacks that can go down to like the core of One Piece, which One Piece world is like several times larger than the world of Naruto. Law just wins. Law wins against Itachi, which is sad because Law is also my favorite. Law is okay. I have three anime characters that are all even flow, and they actually each of them come from one of the big three. And my favorite anime characters ever are Law, Coyote Stark, and Itachi. I love them all equally. I really don't like one over the other. But for this for this case, like Law just has more tricks in the bag for Itachi, and Law's tricks, like could effortlessly Law could effortlessly slice a mountain range in half in Punk Hazard, and Law in by the time of Egghead is giving BB a run for his money. He extreme diffed, or he pushed BB to at least a high to extreme diff fight, even though BB won. So, and also Blackbeard legitimately jumped him with his commanders, and Law's only like subordinate that is commander level is Beppo when he goes into Sulong form. And Law still survived that whole ordeal and didn't get as eradicated as Kid did from Shanks. So Law still in a way took a he took a respectable loss that can thus be turned into a W later on when he comes back into the series. Which obviously he's going to come back stronger since he's going to have to do a whole revenge plot of getting back his crew since they are now captured by Blackbeard. Uh, yeah, Itachi loses against Law. Kisame loses against Jinbei because Kisame just powers up Jinbei. Then we have Kakazu. Then we either have all right. So for our last few warlord for our last few discussions, we have I think I covered every single warlord, and we have four stragglers. We have four stragglers. Now it's time to get into Gecko Moria and Doflamingo and what they do. So we've already covered Buggy, we've covered Blackbeard, we covered Laws, which are like the three extra warlords opposed from the 7 original warlords. Looking at the 7 original warlords in their fights, we got Doflamingo versus Saucery. Doflamingo can make string puppets of himself. Saucery can make puppets. Doflamingo legitimately probably could use his away. Honestly, Doflamingo versus Saucery would be a very cool and fun battle. I still think Doflamingo wins, mainly because Doflamingo hasn't the awakened Ito no Mi, and Doflamingo using his awakened fruit can just use his armament hockey, which has shown to stab Gear 4th Bowman Luffy's even though he lost to him, he was still able to at least stab him with his hockey strings at least one point of that whole ordeal, which means he could definitely just stab through Sorceries, and he could just break all of Sorceries like puppets with his strings. And he can also just make a clone of himself, and that clone still is very strong. So honestly, I would say that Doflamingo is going to have to fight Saucery, and he's going to have to try to fight Saucery, and he's going to have to try to fight Zetsu at the same time and eliminate them, which he can eliminate. Legitimately, Doflamingo can make a clone, and that clone can just destroy Zetsu, and then Doflamingo's actual body, using Awakened, can just destroy Saucery because of his 16 Holy Bullets attack. Now we got Conan versus Kakazu. All right. Like, the only person in Naruto who wins is Higashiki, and that's still fucking jump. Now we have Moria versus Kakazu. Moria versus Kakazu. So, chat, what is this? Is the final battle. Who do you have winning in this? Moria versus Kakazu. My thing is, does Kakuzu have the strength to harm Moria? And does Moria have the speed to, or the ability to trap Kakuzu into stealing his shadow? Because if Moria steals Kakuzu's shadow, Moria wins. If Moria just, I mean, but then could Moria just win off of his Devil Fruit ability alone? I don't really know. Like, this fight is the most, it is the weirdest fight ever. And then you have Conan that's coming in to run run diversion, run distraction, and just to team up with Kakuzu to make some strategies, and to also probably lay out landmines. I mean, I mean, maybe. I mean, Moria is also dumb, so dang. Yeah. Maybe Moria versus Kakuzu. Maybe that one on one. Maybe there's a an an argument that Moria could win. But I guess Conan and Kakuzu kind of pushed that over the edge. And this is the only Akatsuki. This is the only Akatsuki battle that I'm going to give to Conan and Kakuzu, because while Kakuzu could potentially just distract Moria, Conan just comes in and just lays out a landmine battlefield and then just destroys Moria, especially when Moria doesn't have any armament hockey or anything. Like, yeah, he has his shadow form, but that shadow form makes him into a huge target. And Kakuzu can just go into his awakened form to try to meet that shadow form. So, and we've seen Kakuzu actually take on the Two Tails, and even swat away the Two Tails paw slam, and even match the strength of it and hold it up for a moment and then just kind of toss it away. So Kakuzu is actually really strong. So Kakuzu could actually harm Moria even in his like shadow form, like shadow absorbed form, when he bloats himself up. And then you have Conan just kind of doing her thing, running traps like bomb traps, and then summoning clones to paper clones to just try to catch Mori off guard. Yeah, I'm giving the W to Conan and Kakuzu. Wow, that honestly surprises me. I didn't think Conan and Kakuzu, out of all of the Akatsuki members, were going to actually win, actually be the only Akatsuki matchup to win their matchup. Uh Overall, Warlords win against the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki only win one battle. And I base these battles off of who would be the most qualified for these battles. Because obviously, if I put Mihawk to any one of these battles, Mihawk is winning. So Mihawk basically had to fight the strongest person. Uh, Law versus Itachi, still Law versus Itachi. They're both strategic in their battle approach. I just think Law is a little bit, has the edge due to his bag of tricks and his devil fruit just being broken, in that he just has flying Raijin all the time, and that just pushes it over the edge for Mitachi. Nagato obviously does similar things to he does similar things that Blackbeard can do, but just Blackbeard has that Gura Gura no Mi, just kind of sends him over the edge of Nagato's power. Plus, Blackbeard is a Yonko, so respect Yonkos. Doflamingo, Awakened Devil Fruit, can destroy. He also is an island buster with Birdcage. Even though I'm not going to consider Birdcage a part of this, he still is an Awakened Devil Fruit user and can still quickly dispatch of Sorcery's puppets and Sorcery himself. And all Doflamingo really has to do is just stab Sorcery through this heart, which he can do with his 16 heavenly bullets. Boa versus Datara, that just is really Boa's Devil Fruit just counters Datara's personality, turns Datara into stone because of Datara's love for his art. His passion would be his undoing. Kuma versus Nagato, like, or not Nagato, Kuma versus Pain, or all the 6 passes of Pain on a 1v6. Kuma just starts slapping everything and just starts displacing people. And even if he didn't want to, Kuma literally could just like start like doing his paw projectiles and completely just one-shotting everyone, or do his Ursus shock and just AoE blow up all the pains. I mean, if Kuma could deal with all the Straw Hats at Saba Odi, I'm fairly certain Kuma can deal, and also with Kuma's work that he put into, or all the work that he did in Marineford, I'm pretty sure Kuma can just destroy all of the pains or the paths of pain, especially when canonically the paths of pain are weaker than Nagato. So yeah, I give it to Kuma. Jinbei, Kisame buffs up Jinbei. Jinbei wins. Jinbei also has hockey, so like Jinbei extrally wins. Enough said. Buggy, if Shikamaru can win against Hidan is very dumb. He's very straightforward. Uh, he's honestly dumber than Buggy. And Buggy, even though like Buggy's a goof, Buggy still like is very tricky and is very cunning. So Buggy's cunningness and battle IQ, to his certain extent, is still much larger than Hidan's battle IQ. And if Shikamaru's forest of bombs can render Hidan incapacitated for Shikamaru to get the W, but one Buggy bomb can destroy Hidan. Buggy wins. Orochimaru versus Crocodile. I mean, like, I feel like Crocodile just slightly edges out the win because Crocodile got that recent buff coming back into the story, and I don't really think Orochimaru has enough damage output to destroy Crocodile, while Crocodile has enough damage output to destroy Orochimaru. Otherwise, this is a very close battle. Both of them very smart, both of them very cunning, both of them battle strategists, and very strong in their own rights. It's just, I think what edges this out is Crocodile's durability through his hockey and just being durable. And yeah. And and lastly, like I said, Conan Zetsu, or not Conan Zetsu. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention Doflamingo's little string clone definitely destroys Zetsu. Zetsu has like 0 combat ability, fodder. And then Conan and Akazu 2v1 Moria. Like, I feel like Conan and Kakuzu with the 2v1 definitely destroys Moria, even when Moria, or doesn't destroy Moria. It's just that they outsmart Moria, and Moria just kind of just gets defeated through just getting outsmarted by Conan in Kakuzu's, and due to their hacks, allows them to have enough time to come up with a plan to outsmart Moria. And due to Moria's lack of hockey and Awakened Devil Fruit, and just his just his fighting style overall is just doesn't doesn't bode well. So out of uh out of 10 fights, the Warlords win 9 of them. Akatsuki wins 1. And that is it with the stream. I hope you guys enjoy the stream. Let me know what you agree with. I'm going to post this up on YouTube, and so hopefully the YouTube community will let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want me to do more of these podcasts or these versus podcasts. And see you guys in the next one. Peace out, all my fellow weebs and weebettes.